right, everybody, we are back again for another episode of the Coach's Compass. Again, don't know what episode it is because we just continue to roll, bringing on cool guests from all around the world, from Europe, Brazil, India, America, Canada, all different places around the world, bringing on cool coaches. This is your boy, Coach Coop, your boy Jay, reporting live all the way over here from Europe. And again, always remember, hit that comment, like, subscribe button down below so we can continue to have this thing grow and bring on cooler coaches every time that we come on here. But again, we got another one of our European brothers, another guy from America that transitioned all the way over here to Europe to see what this side of life is like. So we got our boy Andre, Coach Andre himself, former professional football player throughout Europe, football coach here in Europe, now training athletes and helping athletes transform unhealthy behavior to their desired form. Also a hybrid coach, and again, also dropped his first ebook online, which you can find in his bio on his link tree. Coach, welcome and thank you for being here with us today.
Yes, I appreciate it, man. I love the intro, man. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Of course, dog. So again, we talk about coming from America all the way over here to Europe. What was that transition like, and what got you? Actually, first, let's start off. How did you even end up going from America to Europe? Because I think that's a huge story that a lot of guys don't really fully understand unless you understand Euro players or you have some connection over here or you have some boys that are playing that kind of bring you over. What got you to come to Europe?
Man, it was a blessing, to be honest. And, something I wanted to dive deeper into myself. But actually, the connection was through a friend, but also through God. And I explain why I say that. So I was working, my first job out of college was a youth mentor for a facility. I'm working there. I'm still training, playing with arena teams. I'm figuring out myself, like, this is actually not what I want. But also, like, the most daunting thing is I'm training and I'm pushing myself and I'm working a job, but I'm also in the streets. And so, like, what ended up happening is, so like I'm in the streets. I'm trying to cover up myself, so I can go to the job and everything like that. And not only do one of my friends, he tell me, hey, man, like, you need to be playing ball. Like, I know that's what you want to do. Why waste your time, just working now? And also another friend told me, you're going to look back in 10 years and wish you would have, continued playing. And so in a long story short, my girlfriend invited me to church, and just out the blue, bro, like, just embarrassing. I walk into church, I'm sitting down, and the preacher, she just picked me out in front of, like, out of everybody there. She picked me out, and she said, she told me, she said, hey, whatever you about to do, like, God gonna show his hand, he gonna take his hand off of you to show you that he real. So you better just kind of listen. And I was about to make what I thought was gonna be a big move, a money move. I guess I was trying to fulfill myself with money because I wasn't playing on the field. And so, yeah, man, like, I basically said, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and not do that. And as soon as I said that, I linked up with my friend that said, hey, I can get you on the field. Linked me up with some people on Euro players. They called me, and bro, it was just like 2 weeks I was on the field. Like, one of their running backs had just got picked up by, I want to say, Pittsburgh. He was trying to, he wasn't decided, and he ended up going to the NFL. And the team that wanted him ended up calling me, bro. I couldn't even explain it. I couldn't even explain how it worked, but that was my my way of coming to Europe. And bro, I didn't look back ever since. Like, it was just too unreal. So I didn't look back.
Shit, I mean, we all know that feeling when you first get over here and you taste that little bit of freedom and you're like, shit, like,
That's
yeah, the level of ball might not be that high, but man, it's a peaceful life over here, right?
Yeah.
You talk about leaving the streets and then coming over here. Where was your first stop over here?
I guess me being the curious mind and the open mind that I am, I really didn't look forward to anything. I just came. I was just kind of fascinated with, like, these villages that they still have, and, like, the languages, and the way people move. And I came over here. I'm always looking over my shoulder. I'm just trying to feel myself out. But after a while, I realized I can kind of, let my shoulders down and breathe. And so, like, from there, man, like I said, I didn't look back, and I really embraced all of it. No matter where I went, I always embraced.
So where was how many years did you play here? Like how many years did you play in Europe? How many places did you play at? And then
Mhm.
when did you start the coaching career?
So I played from 2013 to 2021 was my last year. I played in Germany. I played in Czech Republic. I've also played in France and Finland. So 4 different countries. Loved every minute of it. I think I played. I've only played 1 year with 2 seasons, and that was when I played with France because they started in January, and I ended up leaving France after the year and going to Czech Republic. So I played 2 seasons. But after, let's see, maybe 2 years of being in Europe, I was almost called to like just start coaching for the youth. So that's how I started actually coaching. I was asked to do it, and I was very, I guess, appreciative and thankful for the opportunity. And from there, it kind of just grew from being a youth coach for young kids to being U17 to OCN. One of my teams. Let's see, that was in Germany. 2019, I was the OC and a player, and from there, I went from just OCN and just playing my part in my player role or my coach's role.
So then what was it like, going from, hanging up the cleats and then being full-time coaching now, right? Because that's a hard transition. I mean, I'm just now going through it. Jay will be going through it eventually soon.
Mm-hmm.
How was that transition and how did you handle it? How did you cope with not being like a competitor anymore on the field to now you're on the coaching side and you're trying to build that competitive edge? Because it's different here in
Yeah.
Europe. Like we talk about all the time, like a lot of these kids don't need football to go to college here, right? Like if
Mm-hmm.
you're in the Scandinavian countries, like college is free. I know there's a certain like smaller payment that you have to make in some of the other countries to go to college, but it's not like as strenuous as what we go through in the States to be
Right.
able to get that higher level of education. So what was it like to try to transition into coaching and then kind of get your athletes to understand what it takes to be like a truly like a high level football player?
Right. So my first year of, let's just say, men's coaching, it was easy because I was a player's coach. I could call the play. The guys could easily follow me. The year that I actually just became the OC, that was difficult because now I have to take my own personal competitiveness out of the game, stressing the guys like how much it means to me versus, how much it means to them. Like I said, like these guys, it's given to them. They don't have to worry about, the number 2 or the number 3 guy on the depth chart to come get their spot. So like I'm not only coaching and teaching these guys, but um I have to try to pull back and just coach, which is so hard to do. Like when you transition from just a player to coach, you really have to take your competitiveness out of it. Now you can show that you can show that in different ways, but as far as when you're teaching these kids or teaching these young men certain things, you gotta really pull back and just hold it in. You can't really, because they won't understand. They don't understand, for one, how much it means to you and what it did for you. Two, I always say, like, it's just there's no other option. You gotta go hard, and so like I don't know. For me, it's just like another man across from another man. I gotta win. Me trying to do that while I'm coaching and talking to players, like you really can't do it the same way.
And then you go into, also, I guess we can say health and wellness, strength and conditioning coaching. What what led you down that path? Because I mean, obviously we all can coach football. Maybe not
Yeah.
to the best of ability and all the top coaches, but like we know stuff to help these Europeans on. But you go on to the other side of things that is a little tricky over here, right? In a field that's not as, I would say, not as respected in our sport as it should be over
Yeah.
here. How was that like to kind of get guys to buy in and navigate through that, and what got you interested in it?
Well, that kind of goes back into like my philosophy, and that's just I want to I break down a lot of different basics and the fundamentals of kind of how I wasn't the most talented. And so when I'm talking to different athletes or training different athletes and trying to get them not to do certain drills or training super fast, it's not about that. It's about like these little things, maybe something in their ankle or something in their knees or something in their hips to kind of give them the edge. Because this is what made me a great athlete. And so like I'm sorry if I go off your question, but like this, my philosophy is based off of those fundamentals and how it helped me, and I know how it can help others as well if they just pay attention to those smaller details. How much of their game is going to take off versus them trying to do all these things that they see on the internet, trying to keep up, with all these fads.
The fads are kind of, one of the things that kind of we always hit on it, right? Like Instagram is such a big thing
Mhm.
nowadays that everybody kind of like focuses on and kind of says that they're like learning from and stuff. How have you, man, how have you tried to get people away from the fads and also like just kind of stick to the basics, right? Because that's kind of where we all start at, right? Like we all start from a basic point until we
Yeah,
get to an elite level. Coming over here, that's kind of tough though, because a lot of these guys want to just like follow
yeah,
the fads and get to that, like be at that elite level before they've even built a foundation. How
yeah.
have you helped them build the foundation?
Yeah, so what I've learned is use the fad as the goal. So like what I would do is I would use the fad. Hey, I see you like that, but do you know how to do it? Let's break it down and break it down from every single point to where they can feel themselves doing it. Whether it is like I like to say, like I always kind of equate everything to dancing, especially let's use ladder drills. Everybody want to go through the ladder super fast and all this, but they can't dance. So like I'm challenging them to do certain things. They can't do it. I'm like, all right, well, let's take the first step. Now let's do the second step, and let's do the third step. And before you know it, they realize like, okay, like take it slow first. So use the fad as a goal. You're not gonna get it away from them. Social media is everywhere. So as long as you can break it down to them in a pace where they see some progress, yeah. And I guess that's the learning curve for the coaches as well. So yeah.
Right, I love that approach where it's just like whatever the what they're trying to get accomplished is probably the same thing as
Mhm.
something else that you can do with something else, but taking a different route to go about that. With regards to like the fads, what do you see anything like on like the nutrition side that maybe like a fad or things that they think that they may do that may not be optimal for them that you have to do maybe some more so like education wise with regards to nutrition?
Yeah, like you see these low carb, low fat type fads or intermittent fasting and things like that. Yeah, I mean the approach, you gotta help them understand like what they're actually trying to accomplish. And let's just say for low carb, like they don't really want to take out that many carbs, but maybe they need a they need a little bit more protein, or they need to look at carbs a different way, not just as like bread, but maybe, your carbs could be like your fruit, vegetables, and whole grains. And just break it down to them like, yeah, you want low carbs, but like what kind of carbs are you trying to actually take out or something like that. But yeah, just helping them break down what they're looking at and what they're trying to accomplish and get them to know what they need.
So are you mostly online or in person with most of the stuff that you're doing? And also when you're doing this stuff online or in person, what are you like, not only just for the strength conditioning side and like learning the ladder and that stuff, but for the nutrition side, what are you using to like measure like your KPIs and whatnot to kind of show people their progress and show where they're trying to get to?
So, like, ask me the question one more time.
Yeah, no doubt. So, online, are you mostly online or in person? Now, when you're working with either your online or in person people, what are you using to kind of measure their progress and then showing them their trajectory of like where they're trying to get to, even from the strength conditioning side to the, and then also on the nutrition side? Because it's hard to balance out. I think the strength conditioning side is pretty simple, right? You can show somebody, all right, you started at this weight and now like you've gained this much muscle, so you're able to like lift this much now, right? But if we talk about like nutrition side, like some people's weight go up and down, and everybody likes to track like how much they've gained on the scale and everything. Is that kind of determining how healthy they are? What are you using to kind of show these people like you're becoming a healthier version of yourself? Because we talk about this unhealthy behaviors is also that unhealthy behavior and relationship with food. And like, again, like you said, like the relationship with like carbs, like where you're getting your carbs from and protein and all these different fads. So what are you using to kind of help guys track?
Yeah, so I do use a few different apps, but for one, I'm doing mostly online right now, which is a little. The only reason why I would say it's a little difficult because I would rather be there, but I know like my time doesn't allow that. So like I'm dependent on certain apps. I'm dependent on them to um, certain things. I guess for nutrition wise, yeah, I'm using a lot of different apps. Is what I like is when I explain something to them after they've done a certain habit for a while. There's like a pyramid for for nutrition or like macros starting off and things like that. After after a while, maybe a couple weeks, hey, I've been hitting my macros. They kind of tell themselves almost what's the next step. So I don't have to so much go into deep detail about it. So I'm not sure if I'm answering your question, but like as far as like how I'm gauging it is just how they feel. Like okay, I've been hitting my macros. Okay, I noticed that um, maybe I've been using let's just say I've been eating bread, but I feel like a little lighter when I get my whole grains through oats because it's probably a bad example, but it's just details that they tell me is that lets me know that I can move on. It's really just about me listening to them, how they feel, and usually how they feel is letting me know like, okay, I can take the next step. It's kind of hard for me to explain that, but yeah.
That
No,
makes
no,
sense.
for
I
sure.
wanted to ask you too because I feel like a lot of Americans come over here and they go to like grocery stores and they're not at Walmart and they're like, what the hell am I looking at? So like especially for you, like when you came here, just like even still now, like I'm sure like maybe Americans look to you and just like, hey, what should I be eating? Because the produce section or just like the grocery store in general here is just very different. It's just like what were like what were some big challenges for you when you first came here from obviously our grocery store back in America to like to here?
Not really a big challenge. I'm just looking around like how small are these grocery stores like, and yeah, it's not the same food. So that's one thing that I try not to preach too much with my clients, but like your environment is everything. Like our environment is, mine back home, I would say is soul food, barbecue, all these different type of foods. But we're not realizing, especially when you're an athlete, like, you almost have to separate yourself from all that. Like that's not going to be your longevity. Your longevity. So when I tell people to walk into the grocery store, you need to spend probably, I would say, almost 65 to about 70% right there at the produce section. Like go ahead, stay in the produce and stay on the outside aisles. If you get in the middle, if you spending too much time in those middle aisles, hey, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. So I tell people all the time, like, when you go in there first, make sure you have a list. If you ain't got a list, you gonna spend extra money. And I know we all trying to keep money in our pocket. But make sure you have a list. Make sure you stay majority in that produce section, whether it's fruits, vegetables, herbs, different things like that, and hit those outside aisles where you might get some meat and things like that. Maybe some drinks or something like that. But you probably want to spend like maybe 10% of your time in those middle aisles, for sure.
And what's it like for your like onboarding process to get athletes like kind of signed up, and then kind of what are you going through to kind of see if they are fit for you, or if like you fit what their mold and like how they're trying to go? Because I know that's the hard part with being online, is like you want to take on a bunch of clients, right? You want to take on whoever wants to work with you, but also you got to see if it's a good fit for you and them, because you might get somebody that's super bought in, that like wants to go all in on their nutrition and their strength and conditioning and all that stuff. But then you might get somebody that they're just kind of testing the water to see like what the price tag is.
Yeah, so you're right. Not everybody is for you. Like I said, I really want to work with athletes. Not saying that I won't, because there is some weekend athletes. There's retired athletes that I love working with. People who just do sport just for fun, like those. If you're motivated, if you know for sure, like I would say a gauge of like maybe 8 or above, that hey, you really want to get something done. I'm here to help you, and that can be somebody that just wants to get their shoulders back healthy to swing a bat, or maybe their hips and their spine enough to swing a golf club. I'm there to help. The As far as the onboarding process, so I'm just looking at just a few different things. Just of course, like for me, is the spine again, like their shoulders, from how far they can move their head side to side, and then down their back to their hips. What does their hips look like? What do their feet look like? Because we know that's a big part of being a healthy athlete, or being healthy enough to move. Like because all of these things work together. So once I have a good look at that, and I see how you move, I see that you're cleared, especially if you had an injury. See if you're cleared to continue, and hey, I'm pushing the paperwork for you to sign, and we're on.
How hard is it to tell a person like, nah, you're not a good fit for me, or nah, we probably shouldn't be working together? Because I mean, that's another part of coaching. Like you gotta, like you said, you gotta realize like not everybody is for you to work with. What is it like to tell somebody like, hey, like maybe you should go to like a different coach or something like that? Because I think a lot of us coaches get into we're almost like chicks with like bad dudes, right? That want to fix them, right? And we want to be like the person that says, hey, we did what it took to get them to be a good person, or whatever it may be.
Yeah,
What is it like to be like, nah, I just got to step away from this person, and like we're just not a good fit?
yeah. Honestly, that's something I'm still going through, but it's really not hard if you tell them straight up, like, hey, like I don't feel like you're motivated enough at the moment, or I don't feel like like you said, like you're a good fit. I wouldn't push them away totally. Just say, hey, like if you need to, you can come back in a month or two when you feel like you really want to get this done, or if you so have the finances or whatever. I mean, I wouldn't totally push them away, but that's my way of not shutting them down completely. But I mean, you have to do it, otherwise, like your time is going to be it's going to be spoiled, basically.
Gone. No waste.
Yeah.
Not a waste of time, but you know what I mean. Like our
Yeah.
time is money. Like how much time that we have in a day. There's 24 hours. You got clients that are really focused, honed in, and want to get everything. And then you got that one person that you're kind of begging and like kind of pulling their arm to kind of do what you
And I can
want.
tell that too. I got like a group of athletes right now, and I would say most of everybody is motivated, but when you hop on and you get all this energy, and it's that one, like you just said, you get that one person, you like, I don't see no motion happening. Like what's going on? And then like, you know, you checking in is okay, but if you have to constantly check in and like push, like now you want me to do the work for you, like you know what I'm saying? And I ain't nobody mama or baby, but I understand that's my job as a coach, but I can't be that spirit for you, so to speak. I hope you understand what I mean. Like I can't be that driving force for you.
Nah, I can't. I can't. I can't be
Right.
more I can't be more motivated for your outcome than you are than yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean, I'm gonna meet you where you're at, right? If you're like
Yes.
lacking and not as motivated, okay, cool. Like that's what you're gonna get from me too. Like, I can push you a little bit, but there's only a certain amount of limit. Like I still got to put my energy on other people that are fully motivated too. You know what I mean? So how much are you using your energy now? With that, like how much? Because you've been in Europe now for a good minute. How
Mm.
much do you think Europe has the infrastructure to kind of, do what we're trying to do, but also from a standpoint of, does it have the capability of holding a big time, sports facility or a sports performance place where athletes can go and train together? Or is it more built for online training?
You know, I wanted that to happen so bad that I think it's tough because of the mindset of these different, I don't want to say like countries, but like everybody have their own mindset. And you mean like as Europe as a whole?
I would probably say Europe as a whole, because I mean, is there that? So if because you've been to Germany, you've been to France, you've been to Finland, like you've been to Czech Republic, is there really that much difference? And we look in the just in the football world, is there that much difference in how people are training and how they approach football and whatnot? Unless you're like in the ELF or a high, like at the top division in your league, or if you're in the top, and if you even say those top divisions, if you take the top four teams, like yeah, you have a bunch of, not even a bunch, you got your handful of players that are fully
Yeah.
invested in football.
Right.
Like and then you look at like the bottom and the rest of the leagues that are going on, is there a space for a sports performance place? Like you said, you wanted it for so long. Jay and I have talked about it so many times about, does Europe have the placement for a sports performance place for athletes to go train at, like we do in the States? Like if we look at the States, like you go to every state, there's not
Yeah.
just like your local gym and like a place that everybody goes to. There's like sports performance places that are just like built for speed, combine training, athletes to go for their off season. Like, does it have that over here?
It would be lucrative.
That too.
I think now there is hope. I think now there is hope simply because of the bigger league is now with everybody. Now before, no. But I will say now there is hope for that to happen because there's more players from different countries ending up in different places. So this, I think that is going to allow like maybe that same group of people to be able to go to one spot and train. As far as like in a different country, I just think the mindsets are different. And I'll say like here in Finland, it's like I don't even know how to explain it. Like there is no togetherness. Like there is no togetherness for them to do anything to get like to do something like that or to collab with somebody to do that. It's like a group of people, and then there's everybody else. And but I think if you have a certain group of people who's doing it, and I will say us, if we're doing it, I think that it can happen. Simply because of the background, the experience. I think more people will be drawn to do it. But as far as like, I'm thinking like for the country to open up or maybe a team to open up to do it, it's going to be difficult. I think it'll be very difficult. It'll have to be something that's done by um, just a group of people who really want to take charge to do it.
I mean, Jay's in a special case where he's one of those guys that has a team that's kind of bought into the strength and conditioning, sports performance side of stuff, where they, have their own facility and stuff. But how do, if we talk about just us three right now, how would you what would be your plan to develop togetherness, right? Because we look across the board, like there's camps all over Europe, right? There's coaches all over Europe that are strength conditioning, nutrition coaches, all that stuff. How do we bring everybody together when everybody, because the end goal is all the same. Everybody wants to make everybody a better athlete. Everybody wants football to grow over here. How do we develop that togetherness to where we're all kind of trending the same way and able to all work together?
That's a tough question. But for one, we all gotta have the same mindset, like to do it. We all have to sit down, conversate, understand who's has certain strengths, what our strengths are, how we can work together to do it, um, and not have such of a big ego. One person to another, like, hey, we all specialize in something, I'm pretty sure. How can you pull your resources and do this one thing for us rather than, hey, I just got my group of people and we gonna come only if certain this thing happened. Yeah, I think just taking the ego out of it, and pulling those resources and say, hey, this is our plan together. This is what our focus is together. We should be able to do that.
So tell us a little more about the ebook. Like what brought about like wanting to start an ebook? How
Mhm.
was the development of an ebook? And what
Mhm.
is the ebook all about?
All right, so it's just five different techniques you can use to kind of help you, techniques, tips that you can use to kind of help you live a healthier life. It's kind of hard telling athletes that because athletes just feel more like they just want to get into shape and they're not so much on the health side of things. They're just more of getting in shape. And so, like I really enjoy, telling them how much, man, like real quick, like I think in 2017, I went from just trying to get into shape to actually trying to live healthy. And I had one of the best years I ever had on the field just by incorporating more greens, by doing more breath work, by just doing all these little things that we really don't get told too much because we all just trying to look good and perform good. But the book is really trying to get you or introduce you into these things so that you can be that phenomenal athlete. And like I said, that's what like my philosophy is all about. Me being able to dive into these things, or you can say dive, you can say tiptoe around these things in health, and how much it did for me and how it like shot my potential or my maximized my potential. Like that's what I want for all these different athletes. And so that's what I'm trying to do. Just introduce more and more until people see like, dang, this worked, or this really helped out, or this got my body fat down, or this strengthened up my hips or my back. Especially like I'm big on the spine, man. Like if you can loosen up your spine as an athlete, bruh, like your speed, your power, your flexibility, it like it's unreal. But so that's what I really want to do. I just want to introduce, and that's what the ebook is about, is just introducing those little small tips so that athletes can see the best of themselves before. I don't think it's too late because I think the potential of an athlete, I think the age has risen and is going to continue to rise. But they want to do it at a time where they can really shine with their friends, their teammates, and things like that.
How long is the ebook? And for an athlete like myself, I'm a picture book guy. Does it have pictures in there and stuff?
Actually, no, I don't think it have any. It's short though. Hey, it's short. You can read it. You'll get the gist. It might be like a few pictures to kind of show some things off, but nah, it's not. It's not that visual, which is crazy because I'm a visual guy too.
Somebody down to give me a book, man, I might get to the first page and it's gonna be like another 2 days later before I get to the second page because my attention span just don't be there. I don't know why. Just like you said, I'm a visual guy too. So like some of the stuff in there, I don't know how in depth you go. Probably pretty good in depth with it. Some of the things I know probably For myself, I probably ask somebody like you, hey, like, what do you mean on this part for like you're talking about like loosening up your spine or like being more flexible in the spine? Like, how would I go about doing that? And can you show me? Which I guess at least is great that it doesn't have pictures because then it leads to people asking you more questions to be able to get a better understanding of it, and that just builds up, that the leads and getting more clientele in the door too. But with all of that, who are you learning all this stuff from, and what coaches are you kind of in the industry looking up to?
For me, I just like to, man, I look at a lot of different people. I just, like I said, I've always just been a curious person. I love practicing. I think like the word practice is not like looked at enough. If you look at like what practicing is and how much you can get out of it, um, I just think it's very important. That's what led me to write the ebook. I'm just practicing writing books, even though it's something short and small, but it's helping me, prepare something bigger for athletes. But like who I'm looking at, it's a lot of different people, and I just take bits and pieces from what people say, and I study it, and I apply it, which I think is the most important part.
Now, I saw something you posted on your Instagram recently. One thing I saw was the fridge. I ain't showing you my fridge because I ain't at home yet. All right. But the second thing was lunch being should be the biggest meal. Now, why do you believe that should be the biggest meal, and pretty much just why?
Yeah, for one, lunch is you're probably the most active around lunch. So like, let's just say you're a person who don't eat breakfast, or you're fasting, and that's where your one meal is coming from. You're just moving throughout the day. So like if you ate a small breakfast and maybe you ate a big lunch, maybe you went to an all you can eat buffet, there was a little movement, I'm sure, before that, and then you're going to be moving after that. You can almost kind of cheat with your lunch meal. Not too much, but you can cheat, and it won't punish you too bad. As far as dinner, the dinner meals, now that's where most people can, you'll fall behind because it's usually late at night. A lot of people, they eat, go to sleep. There's no more movement. So um, if there's no more movement, there's just food sitting in your stomach. That's just calories stacking up. That's sugar stacking up. And so that's why I said lunch should be your biggest meal, is because you can almost get away with um, whatever you eat. You can kind of get away with that with all the movement you're going to have after that.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I never even thought about it like that. But yeah, all the movement leading up to lunch and all the movement probably following lunch, and then
Yeah.
obviously some people with dinner, like you probably don't sleep as well if you have a heavy dinner.
Yeah, no, I never. Cause I'm a breakfast person, so I like to get up and get my big meal, and then I hit the gym, and then after that, like it's not so much of a huge meal at lunch, but it makes complete sense. If you look at let's say 16, 17-year-old Andre, right? And you look at yourself now, what would be your best advice you give to 16, 17-year-old Andre now?
Man, find for one, I tell them, relax, listen, like go find that mentor, go find that person that's going, I would say, find a better role model. That's what I would say. Find a better role model, and just be. I was super active, man, and I was all over the place. But I would just tell myself to relax, find that role model, and just pay attention. Pay attention to the people around you and your environment a little bit more, and you'll be all right.
To
There it is.
piggyback off that question, what challenges are you facing now in your life in coaching and I guess the performance world?
The biggest challenges that I'm having now as a coach, I guess, because I'm trying a lot of different things. Of course, I have my philosophy how I do things, but I think the biggest challenge is just, I guess, knowing what's almost just right for everyone, and you're not gonna be perfect in that. Just kind of getting used to certain body types, certain personalities, and putting those things together for whatever athlete that may be.
That's what's up. So before we get out of here, we got a 90-second round, bro. It's one word answers. It's 10 questions. It's all across the board, bro. Are you ready for
it? Do it. We're going to have to blank something out.
Nah, you'll be good, bro. You got it. You ready for it?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, here we go. 90 seconds on the clock. Favorite post-workout snack?
Walnuts and dates.
Dream vacation spot?
Italy.
Best athlete you've ever trained?
Maurice Wright.
Pizza or burger?
Burger.
Do you prefer off-season or in-season training?
Off-season.
Your favorite exercise?
Push press.
Dream car?
McLaren.
Which do you prefer, a good sprint session or a heavy lift session?
Still there. Did you hear me?
What'd you say? Good sprint session or a heavy lift session?
Sprint session.
What is your number one flaw as a coach?
But it said no flaws.
My number one flaw is I guess pride.
Would you rather be in an octagon with a gorilla, tiger, or a bear?
A bear.
And that is it, bro. We appreciate you, Andre. Thank you for coming on today, bro. Thank you for your time, and a lot of info dropped here today. Again, guys, remember, he's got an ebook that he just dropped, giving you some tips, right? You can go ahead and check out on his Instagram bio. Right? And again, if you want to work with Coach Andre, he has an onboarding process. Just reach out to him, and you can get to know all about that. But again, thank you so much for your time today, bro.
Much appreciated.
Thank y'all.
And we're out.